Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is a meeting of the Land Use Committee of Community Board number 8 in the Bronx. I'll take a note of the attendance. Lee John.
Present.
Bob Bender. Here. Laura Spalter.
Here.
Mr. Matthews.
Present.
That's it. Good.
Yeah,
So we have a
Bonnie and
quorum.
Daniel, yeah, or Daniel's not here yet.
All right. Any members of the legislature here, any elected officials? There is a representative, I believe, of the City Planning Commission. Am I correct, Camilla? Camilla, are you with us?
Not City Planning Commission, Department of City Planning. Good afternoon.
Oh, you got me. You
A
got me.
promotion.
And there's a representative from Assembly.
There's a representative from Assemblyman Denowitz. Who's that?
Nice.
Gonzalez.
Wait,
Right here.
Right there.
right there. Anybody else?
Who is 917-324-7355?
Hello, 997-917. Who are you?
You
Calling
mean
in.
7355?
Yes,
That's
Is
me.
it? Okay, so
I'm on
why?
I'm on the phone and I'm on the internet.
Who is it? Who are you?
I am
On the upper
the one you
left.
just knocked up.
Oh, I see, okay.
Got it, okay.
No, I did.
It's.
All right.
who's
Okay,
on
I'm the guy
list?
that freezes all the time.
That's right, okay.
We're all set?
He's from Van Cortlandt Village. He was on last time.
Okay. I guess so. Chairperson report. This is relevant to the next, one of the next items, item number 5 on the agenda. Is Mr. Leffer on?
Not yet, unless that's his iPhone.
But Axel Bank is also involved in Van Cortlandt Village, am I right?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Anybody else here involved in the Van Cortlandt Village issue?
You can
Yes.
raise your hand. Oh,
I can't
Okay.
raise my hand. I'm on the phone.
that's okay. We see Odalise, we
Who
see
is that?
Deborah Johns, and we see John.
All right.
Okay.
I met this week with a senior official of the new administration concerning 2 issues, one of them being Van Cortlandt Village. The report is as follows. There is a general view of this administration that the micro units have been working successfully in Manhattan, and that they tend to cap out at about $3,000 a unit in Manhattan. They are in areas they believe that do not cause problems, and they are ones that they are watching. They have a generally good view of them. I told them that the number here was 9, it's really 8 are completed. I told him that there were remote from any job opportunities, remote from any transportation of meaningful substance to get them to workplaces, and remote from any medical facilities to speak of. And that they were in proximate relation to the local gin mills, which has been the problem of the to the SROs over the decades. And we had a long conversation about it. We will continue. I wanted to tell them that Mr. Leffler's map is now in the hands of senior officials of the administration, and they will be investigating what's going on up there. One of them commented that they should have been up and running already, and he wanted to check that out. I told him that it was my view that the area of Van Cortlandt Village, between that and the rash of weird and unrestrained development, is going to turn that into a potential slum within 5 years. Found that disturbing. I do have some credibility with them on that subject. And we are going to be sitting down and talking about that issue after he has had a chance to have it examined carefully in the next week or two. I will call him again tomorrow or Monday and see if he's had a chance to do that. But the map is in the hands of the administration. And they asked for it. So we will start seeing hopefully some results there. The first item on the agenda, now, should we continue on with Van Cortlandt while we're there?
Yeah.
Is there anybody here? Is Leffler coming or not?
I can't answer for him.
But
All right.
Gary wants to talk.
Mr. Axelbank, you're on.
He's muted.
Unmute yourself.
There we go. Thank you very much, and I appreciate that you did that. That you did approach the administration. I think that's a positive thing. I'm a little less concerned than some of my neighbors, and I won't disagree with them over the the SROs and all those kinds of things. I am very concerned about out of control development, and I appreciate that you brought it up, and I understand what you presented to the administration. But there are other resources, and just to the east of us, northeast of us, is Kevin Riley's district. Kevin Riley was just made chair of the Land Use Committee of the City Council. Just to the south of us, and her district includes some of the issues that we're having in Van Cortlandt Village, is Perina Sanchez, who's chair of the Housing Committee. It is my belief that, and I actually have an appointment to meet with our council member on Monday. It is my belief that if there is a coalition of these three council members who may be suffering the same thing in the East Bronx, in Williamsbridge and Woodlawn and all those areas that Kevin Riley represents, Gun Hill, et cetera, there are numerous homes, single-family homes, that are undoubtedly being asked to sell in favor of apartment buildings, like's going on up and down Sedgwick Avenue. And of course, in Kingsbridge, there are many, many housing issues that Councilmember Sanchez has to deal with. I think creating a coalition of council members, along with getting the administration involved, is a very good way to go to get some movement. It may be legislative movement. I know Councilman Dinowitz had his 2 and 3 family legislation that he's put forward. I think there are ways to deal with this on a much larger scale than just asking for a favor for Van Cortlandt Village. And I can't even begin to express to you how terrible it is what's going on right outside my window every single day. Sedgwick Avenue has 3 bus lanes going north, 3 bus routes going north, and 3 bus routes going south. I have seen lineups of cars from practically at Van Cortlandt Avenue West all the way up to Fort Independence, because the buses can't pass each other because the nature of the construction is in the way. And so they stand there and they wait for the buses literally to inch by. a developer has no regard for the community and doesn't ensure that whenever they block traffic, that they have their workers there. So it's a very bad situation, but my bottom line is, I think this is much larger than Van Cortlandt Village. There's no question that Community Board 7 has the same issues and Community Board 12 has the same issues that we have. And I think a larger coalition of community boards and council members, especially since the two council members who are adjacent to us have significant pull in legislation and in controlling what goes on in housing in the city, both with land use and housing. So that's my pitch.
Excellent. I mean, let
And
me
I appreciate the work
respond to
that you
some
do.
of what you have said. While maybe the Kevin will be helpful, I very much doubt that you will find true help from the council members to the south. One of them indeed is an active supporter of the micro houses. That's number one. And we've been in touch with both of them, trying to get them going, and nothing has helped. Number two, the administration's attitude, and I'm not endorsing this, I disagree with it. The administration's attitude is as follows. We have got to build housing. And in the course of building housing, you have noise, you have traffic obstructions, you have buildings being torn down and replaced, and we need housing for people, especially affordable housing, and that's something that has to take priority. That I know will be their position based on my meeting the other day. So that cannot alone win the day for you in terms of a broader impact on the officialdom as contrasted with the legislators. Anything that can be done to move the legislators will be a plus. But that has been attempted by Eric over and over again, and he hasn't been able to pull it off thus far. Okay, so I would
Can I
recommend.
respond to that?
Wait
Can I
a
respond to
minute,
that?
I would
Okay,
recommend that what we do is you go down the course of trying to get whatever help you can on a citywide basis. I'd like to, our job is Community Board 8. We would be glad to join with any other community board that is like-minded or any other group that is like-minded. But that is not going to be our immediate answer. Our immediate answer is to get whatever help we can for your community as quickly as we can.
Okay.
Laura.
Can I just
I just have a
respond to that?
I have a very brief comment. I was part of a coalition fighting City of Yes. We had a meeting with Councilman Riley, who also chaired a committee at that time. And it was, I agree with Chuck. While he said he would tweak this or tweak that, maybe the part, it was clear what his agenda and his focus. And so I doubt he has changed, and I was not happy to see his chair planted.
Can I just
Tacklebaum.
can I just respond then, please?
Go ahead.
I may disagree with some of my neighbors on this. I'm not against housing and I'm not against the building of housing. What I'm against is what is going on the corner of Stevenson Place and Sedgwick Avenue, that in order to build this building, they had to literally take down a mountain. I mean, I don't know how high it was, but that kind of destruction, which costs trees, we all know what that's involved. But I think we need, because if we don't add housing, I'm not against adding housing. If we don't add housing, we're going to have more migrants and more vagrants in the street. We're going to have more begging. We're going to have more poverty, et cetera, et cetera. So we need to get the right kind of housing in the right places. Right next to
That's what they call the city planning committee.
I
And
understand
what
that,
they
and
call community planning boards.
I'm
The
all
community
for it.
planning board is trying to do that.
Yeah, I'm all for that. I'm very concerned that there are 5 private houses just to the south of my building. And I have heard that those people are all being pressured to sell their homes. And if I had a home like that and somebody offered me $2 million to sell it, it would be very difficult for me to walk away from it. So I don't really have an answer, but I think we
I
need
hear
to
you.
continue.
Where
I
you
think we
believe, where
continue
you
to.
believe there is work being done that is disruptive from the standpoint of traffic or from the standpoint of safety or from any other specific standpoint other than it just gets in the way, please let the district manager know, and I will guarantee you it'll be in the hands of senior officials of the administration within an hour. How's that?
I appreciate that. Is it possible, to, look at the whole picture and say, well, you know what? Every developer is not crummy like the innovative guys that are building these 2 buildings here, and really work with developers who will build the right kind of housing and have consideration for communities instead of just, the consideration for their own bottom line.
The answer, I wish I could tell you yes, but I think it is not a realistic possibility. But having said that to you, I also have to add one further fact. The priorities of this administration are the priorities of this administration. They are going to be hard to change. I tried to make your point in my meeting. I don't think I was as persuasive as I had hoped to be, but it will continue again. All right.
Thank you very much
There was
for your
another
effort.
hand up there.
Odalise.
Hi, so I am a Park Reservoir resident, but I am also an Am Park Neighborhood School mom and on the Parents Association. I agree with everything that Gary's saying, and I understand the needs of the administration, housing, and all of that. However, I agree with Gary when he's saying the right kind of housing in the right area. Not only is this construction, which takes zero consideration for any of the neighborhood, affecting the MTA buses, which I take every morning and I'm late to work almost every day. They're blocking the school buses that are picking up children to get them to schools. Ham Park is one of the schools in the area. So is 95. So are a few schools in Riverdale that they have to come through here to then get their buses down to their community. So, like Gary said, the literal mountain that was removed on the corner of Sedgwick and Stevenson, we talked last time about the trees and the amount of trees that they're going to continue to reduce. If they knock down all these houses, rip out all these trees, we already have sometimes flooding issues in the neighborhood because of the amount of rainfall or whatever that we get. When you take out the things that are absorbing all of this, how much worse is this situation going to get? Also, I understand that they want to build affordable housing, but if these apartments are $3,000, they're not affordable for anyone. No one's going to live there. They're going to sit there as empty, ugly buildings, blocking our way, causing more congestion and more issues. We have parents that leave the neighborhood or leave the school because there is no parking and they circle the block for hours and hours. If you're adding all these buildings and a lot of them, as we talked last time, are not considering even having parking, how much worse is that issue going to get? How many more kids will our schools lose? Or our neighborhood, how much more are we going to have to do in order to try to live here? It's very difficult and it's very frustrating. And I understand we can't do anything about the buildings that are already up. Fine, whatever that is. But if we can avoid this abuse, this overdevelopment that's just affecting our neighborhood so greatly.
You respond to your point. It's a point that we have made, but I don't intend to kid you or to deceive you as we will continue down this road. One.
And I know
what
that
is
you
your
said city
definition
planning.
of the right kind of housing?
I mean, if it's not going to be affordable to a point, I'm in a bunch of moms groups online. There are
What's
people
an
looking for
affordable house?
apartments. They're
What
looking
is
for under
affordable?
$2,000. They're looking for under
Okay,
$2,000, under $1,800 a month. If we're not going to have that, then you're going to have a bunch of empty buildings that just sit there. Then what is the point of building all those buildings?
Uh,
So to your point that you
No,
said the city
let's-
planning was somebody to talk to, is there a number? Do they have meetings like the community board where we can go and express our concerns to the planning committee about how much they're doing to this neighborhood and how it's just gonna inundate an already stressed and stretched neighborhood and situation?
There are
Ma'am,
other
let me
I have
deal
to
with
say,
your issues
excuse me,
one by
there are
one.
other places.
You have absolutely
They have to raise their hand.
focused on the right answer to what is affordable housing. But your answer is not the current definition of affordable housing, and it certainly wasn't the definition of the last administration. Affordable housing, in their view, was anything that could get sold. You've heard us talk about that over and over again. I'm gonna have to excuse Bob, you want to pick this up?
I was telling the people.
My daughter's, I'm in a meeting, is it urgent?
Let's wait a minute.
Good, bye. Perfect. I'm sorry. My daughter's on a plane. Let me make the point. I argued that point with data and unquestionable data. But when a city official thinks $3,000 for a micro unit ain't bad, you know what he thinks of affordable housing. That's number one. Number two, the problem that you have is an absolute 100% refusal of either the city council or this or the last administration to define affordable housing. Affordable housing today is keyed to the AMI, the area median income, which is determined by including such very low rent areas as Scarsdale, New Rochelle, Roslyn, and Great Neck. It's inflated for higher rents, but they refuse to do that. We have been after the former chair of city planning over and over again. Didn't help worth a damn. We don't intend to let up. I see at the moment no real opportunity for it to let up without more of this in this administration. In my view, there's greater promise of any achievement by this administration than either of the prior two administrations. But that's your problem. You are not wrong. The right kind of housing that New York City needs today is housing that is affordable to people of a lower income, not low income, a lower middle income group, the postal worker and the like. That's what New York City needs, but that's not what's being built. Any application you see come in to this board will tell you, we are going to build affordable housing. It's going to be 80% of the AMI. 80% of the AMI includes people who makes $100,000 a year. Do you think that's affordable? No, that's not the income most people in the Bronx make. There's nothing geared to what people in this community make. And we are doing that, and we are trying to get that message across. And if you will work with us, you'll help us perhaps achieve it. Because I'm getting old and tired. Okay? I apologize for yelling. I'm passionate on the subject. You are not wrong. You are 100% right. I'm just I don't like losing. Jody.
Well,
Oh.
Megan is next.
Megan.
There's other people ahead of me.
Megan,
Hi, yes, I'm Megan Enriquez. I live in Amalgamated Cooperative, like Odalise. I'm an AmPark parent. I'm an Intech parent. And Just to kind of piggyback on what everyone is saying, I mean, it's the lack of regard because housing solutions, I agree with Gary, should strengthen communities, not extract value from them. Um, they increase like the density without matching investments in any of the green space. I don't even see them trying to like shovel off that corner of snow there, like nothing, no regard at all. That's a meaningful way to interact with the community you plan on maybe buying 5 other houses with. The reservoir too needs to be cleaned up. Maybe we can tie some of these offers. I don't know if this is the space or the forum to maybe propose that, but there's like Winnebagos that live there permanently. Maybe they can do something with the cleanup around the reservoir. Um, just things like that. I just think that it's falling harder on working families, like you said. And I know you're frustrated, and I would like for you to just be patient with us that are kind of new to the table and kind of just direct us in the way that would make the most meaningful impact for you. And then I'm done.
iPhone, please identify yourself. In the top iPhone.
I just asked them to unmute.
Hello, this is my name is Jason Dent. Megan Enriquez is my wife. I just kind of wanted to talk about the community issues that I've seen as well. It's with reckless disregard the things that are happening. And as I've grown up in this community, you know, I've been a member of this community for just about 40 years now. You know, I've seen this community in a drastic state of change, and I feel like there is a lot of things going on between those Winnebagos on the reservoir and also just this rapid change in what's happening with the construction. And I don't think that there's much regard to the traffic conditions that are going to result by this, the parking conditions that are going to result, the overwhelming of this basic community, because we have a small community here. So we're going to have an overwhelming population change and an influx and a rise in population that is going to overwhelm the small community supermarket, small community pharmacy that we have, and drastically change. I mean, we've seen instances where crime has increased. I know that the pharmacy was broken into not too long ago. And we're looking at all of these things that are going to cause a rapid change. And we know that all the rodents that can be caused by this construction and things like that. This is a destabilization of the community that we've grown up in and that we've lived in for a good number of years and that we've grown very fond of. And I think that it's our responsibility to step up and organize and enact this change so that we can kind of resist and make sure that proper planning is going into putting these construction projects into place to make sure that we're supporting the community as well and allowing it to have the resources to support this infrastructure.
I don't think you will find any member of this board who disagrees with any of the views expressed so far. And we are trying to do it. But first, we're going to get your views, and then we're going to talk some more about that subject. Judy. Jody.
Well, first, it's very exciting to hear new voices and that you have such well thought out opinions on this. Because I'm with Chuck. It's been a long time and I'm frustrated too. But I wanted to just touch on what Gary said about the big picture. That 1.4% vacancy rate that they're using to say we need more housing, that doesn't include over 230,000 vacant units that are held off the market. There's 250,000 units that aren't on the market. And there was just, I think the city just came out with an article about how there are over almost 3,000 units tagged for homeless people that are also vacant and not filled. So there's a lot of housing available. It's just not available. And then there are things that we can do. The city council did not override Adams's veto of the COPA bill, the community opportunity to purchase, which allows the community land trust nonprofits to intervene to purchase buildings. So, you know, if you want better developers, maybe that's it. Like, you know, Northwest Bronx Community Clergy Coalition, you know, those kinds of organizations have done pretty well for the Bronx. So I think it's, you know, like all this as of right stuff for apartments that are tagged affordable housing but don't have reasonable rents. Like they built one right next to me, and I worked at my job for 20 years and didn't make enough money to qualify for the affordable housing right next to me. So hang in there, guys. It's a long fight. So keep going and just call 311 for everything. Just document it in 311. That's like the best thing I can
Jody,
tell
in
you.
about 5-10 minutes when we get to it, you'll find I'm gonna have a reason to call you specifically. Mr. Axelbank,
Yes,
last time.
I'll be very quick. Number one, thank you, Jody, for mentioning COPA. I thought that was a terrible thing. I was shocked that the city council didn't make sure it got passed. But because of my work, I am able to see a lot of neighborhoods in the Bronx, and there is good housing going up. I never use the word affordable. That's cheaper, that's less expensive, that provides social service supports for the residents. There are not-for-profit developers all over this borough, and it's really not up to the community board, but if we can get some of those people who have a vision of the full community to work in our communities instead of these rogue developers like Innovative, we can all do a lot better. I think they're out there. We just got to find them and engage them. That's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Please be aware of one thing. Because an entity is a not-for-profit, doesn't mean it's not for profit. It's only for the profit of the people who are organizing it by way of salaries in most instances.
Yes,
But
I'm
the
not
key
so
is there
naive.
are some very good organizations that are in the field. I think it was Jody Kalan who forwarded to me the other day an article of a speech made or some story in City Limits by the incoming deputy mayor for housing, which is more along the lines of what you can achieve if you really want to and if you have a desire and the ability to do it. The basic cost of housing costs are one, land costs. They were cheaper 20 years ago because they had all the buildings that were burned down or condemned in the 60s. But you ought to find a way of making the land cost available and cheaper. It can be done if, as they now plan on doing it, in trying to reduce the construction costs and eliminating some of the taxes if you really have affordability, real affordability. That was not enforced in 421A, and that's why the costs went up. And lastly, if you really have a true apprenticeship programs of people that bring non-union workers into the union so that they can have good and livable wages while doing work that is leading to affordability in housing, you need the full package. She seems to have some ideas in that direction, and I wish her well. I only hope that the rest of the team takes on a viewpoint such as that. So now let me go to the issue, if I may, of this. I've raised this before, and I need to know something quickly, and I've said this at the executive committee. I would like to find out if we can put together 7 or 8 people, no more, who are willing, Jody, to help us put together a definitive paper on what is affordable housing, what are the needs, and using Van Cortlandt Village as an example of what is destructive of community. Understand something very simple. The former mayor of the city of New York said to the former chairman of the City Planning Commission, I am told, he doesn't care if single-family homes throughout the city of New York are replaced with apartment houses. Why? Because it provides housing. And that seems to have been the view of the former City Planning Commission. That's wrong. I think we need to clean up the whole damn commission, frankly. And that's something else down the road. But for the moment, please, if there are any of you who are willing to help on this committee, whether you be members of the board or not, will you please let Farah know I'm trying to assemble 7 or 8 people who are prepared to give it maybe in the next month 10 hours. Maybe. But we've got to do that. All right. There's on the right. Who is on the right?
I'm sorry, I just wanted to inquire about something. Would there be any chance to control some of the zoning restrictions to prevent some of these things from going up?
Yes, and
Maybe
then they
beyond-
name a charter commission that undercuts it. The charter commission that was run by a man who was just a member of the commission, but he was also a consultant to all the developers of the city of New York. Where do you think this stuff comes from?
Can I make a suggestion? Since there are new people here, they may want to read up a little bit more on the City of Yes, because that dominates the discussion.
Let me give you an example of City of Yes, right in this district today. Earlier this week, I received a report of a proposed development in an area that is not Van Cortlandt Village. It is in the area of the so-called former estate area in Riverdale. There was a plan to take a large piece of property, and in the side yard, I thought originally it was in the backyard, to build another house and thereby have increased density. Under City of Yes, that is approved. You can build in the backyard of virtually every house in the community another house. And if you put 10 houses together with a zoning lot merger, the FAR will allow you to build a hell of a lot more than one house. All I'm saying to you, City of Yes, a dumb electorate, that's not what a politician would call an electorate, adopted it. It was a sweetheart deal for the construction industry and for certain developers. That's what it was. This board opposed it. These sections in particular. Of the council members from the Bronx, only one had the guts to say no, and that was Dinowitz. And that tells you an awful lot. Okay, so if anybody is available to help us put this together, we will do it. We've done this before. We put together a 197A plan. We will put this together if we have enough help to do it. It's a job of work. Mr. Leffer did a hell of a job in putting together the preliminary information. And I'm sincerely hoping that when we get hold of him, he'll be among the people to join. I know I can count on Jody, who's going to call up and tell our district manager she's on board. So let's see who else can come. All right. Is there anything else on Van Cortlandt Village?
Anything new?
Okay. Next is to revert to Chevier. Why don't you outline the background based on your draft letter?
Well, I mean, I think everybody in the committee knows we've had 2 separate incidents with Chevier over the last few years. One recently, late last year, where they did excavation in the back of their property. And apparently they had a perfectly legitimate reason to do it. They had a drainage problem that had to be addressed. But the problem there is they're in the special natural area district, and they just went ahead and did what they had to do without any consultation with city planning or anybody else for that matter. And it's a second episode because a couple of years earlier, I don't remember the specific dates, they cut down a number of trees on their property. And I don't recall that there was a particularly good reason for why that happened. But again, there was something that happened without any consultation with city planning or anybody else. And in both instances, there's been documentation by the neighbors, so this is not a matter of he says, she says. We have evidence that this has been taking place. And the management of Chervier has been invited to come before the community board, to come before this committee to discuss these matters, and they've declined. So we have a legitimate problem with Chervier.
So Bob was kind enough to put together a draft of letter to Chervier. I can tell you a little bit of background on this. The ownership of Chervier shifted about 3 years ago. And a group of development-oriented acquirers took over from the entity that was running it previously. It was more of a religious-oriented development team. They have been developing the property in a structure which is very much more oriented to development ideas than it is to maintaining the physical facility. We tried to get them to come to the board twice last year, and they did not do so. We are going to write to them now and invite them again. Failing that, I will ask this committee for authority to communicate with the State Commissioner of Health and the City Department of Health to ask that they conduct a license investigation. The actions that the folks did here was a violation of the zoning ordinance. And as such, that rises to a violation of law, which while it might be technical, still gives them jurisdiction to jump in, audit, and figure out what the hell's going on there. So I hope to avoid that, because Chervier of old really did a great job, and these folks may ultimately get their act together and do it. But until then, we continue to have that problem. Okay, so unless somebody has a problem on the committee, that letter will go out tomorrow. Yes.
Should we put a specific date by which we want a response?
Sure. Let's see, ask them, we'd like to get from you within the next 2 weeks.
And put
The
the
schedule
date
in for the March meeting.
and put the date of the March meeting. And
What's the
say,
March meeting?
Karen, do you have it on the
I
top of your head?
will,
We can, I mean, that we can find
look
it.
it up.
And I would also suggest that failure
It should be
to
the first
respond
one.
and attend will lead us to
It's the
kick it up a
second.
level to various
I
agencies.
think that's in that additional last sentence.
Okay. I need one of those letters.
But I would, whatever, today is the fifth,
Give them till the 15th.
to respond and say that we expect your attendance at the next meeting.
Right.
Confirmation that you will attend the next meeting in the land use committee on whatever the date happens to be.
All right. Do you have that, Tara?
So confirmation, if you can give us confirmation within 2 weeks that you can attend.
Well, tomorrow's the 6th, which is the date of the letter, 2 weeks,
Right.
the 20th, which is the Friday.
Yeah,
And I
that's-
think they're Sabbath observers, frankly, and that would give them about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
To prep. For the March 2nd meeting.
Okay. All right, anything else on that issue?
She's Stacy's.
Now. I have some, before you get to new business.
It's a lot.
We have a draft of the minutes. Something I tend to ignore and for the meeting of January 22. Are there any corrections, amendments, etc., comments? May I have a motion to adopt?
I would point out, I think there's an S left off of my last name
Oh,
on the
thank
attendance
you.
list.
Okay, on the minutes?
Save it.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Ed has.
I approve.
State's name. Okay. Got it. Lee, you approve as well?
Well,
All right.
shouldn't I abstain since I was absent from the meeting?
No, as long as you can read the minutes, you don't,
Oh,
you
okay,
don't
I
have to.
read the minute, I agree with the content of that, whether it's factual or not.
Just so yes.
All right, I have a motion, do I have a second? I have a second, all those in favor, contrary minded, done. That takes me to new business. Is there any new business? Is there any old business? Is there any monkey business? On the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Oh, we have a hand up.
Oh, who had their hands up?
Mr. John.
Yes, sir. Mr. John, is that his name?
Yes.
Yes.
Would you? Hello?
What's his phone number?
Oh, it's on the,
355.
Yeah.
right.
Okay. Oh, see, he read it good. Okay. I'm asking him to unmute.
Do you want to unmute him?
She
I
did.
asked him a few times on the phone, so he has to hit some numbers or something on his phone. Okay, there.
I've never used the phone before in any type of
It's a
Zoom.
great
meeting.
invention. We were waiting
Yeah.
for artificial intelligence to catch up.
The former president of Park Reservoir Board taught me how to do this. I would have never known how to do this before he did it himself. Anyhow, I had a question, and the question has to do with the entire Community Board 8 area. So what I would like to know is, in the entire Community Board area, are there other locations that the developers are developing in that area? Because to me, with that little map that ABBA provided in the last meeting, it seems like everything is congested in Van Cortlandt Village. So what I really want to know is it congested in Van Cortlandt Village, or is there a lot more building going on in Community Board 8?
I think you are the prime area at this moment by a mile. And it's not unusual when one developer does it, others join. But there's another reason. You're assuming they're all independent. Don't make that assumption. I don't.
Kingsbridge Heights
Yeah.
is
Oh, no.
also.
A lot.
Down Bailey in Kingsbridge Heights is also
Well, right.
same,
Well, there's-
because everywhere that's R6, these are
That's
all
right.
R6.
But with City of Yes, they can go a half mile from Broadway, which is Fieldston.
Mhm.
I mean, so they can go almost anywhere in the CBA.
Well, can't
You-
the board
it's-
say, you know, we've already got like 6 developments going up in this area, can you move it to another section?
Unfortunately.
I wish we could.
Read up on the City of Yes. That's a complete change to the zoning.
I'll
There is
tell you
a
what
course
the
there.
problem is, really. There was a time when there was planning in this town. John Zuccotti led a great planning commission. They planned for New York. He wasn't the first. There have been great planning commissions over the years. In the last 12 years, I wouldn't give them a snot. They have not done it. All respect to Camilla Thomas. They have let the people down. And if it were up to me, I would call it something else than a planning commission.
You know, I
There's-
have to comment on what Jody was talking about before. She said that a new building went up, affordable building near where she lives. and she wasn't able to get into it. And I kind of sympathize with that because as a retired person, they had built up a building on Fort Independence, maybe about 3-4 years back. And I could not even get into a 1-bedroom because as a retired person, they said I made too much. But even if I wanted to try to say, well, I can afford a 2-bedroom, they won't give it to me because I'm a single guy. So there I am, I'm stuck in catch-22. I can't afford affordable housing. And I'm running into almost not affording where I am now. So the other part of what one of the other callers was talking about was that they'll build these affordable housing and nobody will be able to move into it and they'll sit vacant, which is really not realistic. They won't sit vacant because what the city will do is they'll march in the welfare people and the homeless people, just like they did to that building up on what is that, Waldo or Greystone, the one that used to be owned by Manhattan College, and they put all the migrants into that building. You know, so this is what destroys the community. And then the last thing is, and I know you've already covered this before so many times, is that maybe a year or so back, or the last administration, they decided, well, you know, you can build as many buildings as you want, and don't worry about parking. You don't have to include it. Well, you know something? If you think that half the people moving into any of these new buildings aren't coming with their car or some motorcycle or whatever the case may be, you're mistaken. If you were to just walk around the neighborhood, you put all these city bikes all over the place. All right, now this is another topic. But you put all these city bikes all over the place. In the snow, you could take pictures on all of them. They're all snowed in. Nobody can use them. So tell me, where are they going to park or put their transportation?
You are not wrong.
I'd be very careful about characterizing people who move into certain buildings. That building on Waldo and 238, which houses migrant families, has not been, to the best of my knowledge, in any way disruptive of that neighborhood. Quite frankly, I lived 2 blocks from there when I first moved to Riverdale. The Manhattan College students parading between the dorm and the school late at night on the weekends
And the bar.
and drinking underage were a lot more disruptive than the people who are in that building right now.
The dorm being that same property.
It's a family shelter. It started as a migrant housing.
Okay,
It's no-
and we have another family shelter on Broadway.
Mhm,
And we've had no
issues.
problems
No.
with it. So I would say be very careful about characterizing people and how they affect neighborhoods.
The issue is, Bob points out, isn't the people who they are. The whole concept of how we treat migrants and around this country, something that I find troublesome. I too was an immigrant. I too came to this country looking for help. My mother had $2 in her pocket. That was it. I got lucky. My point is, there are many people among them who are in the same, many. And we just have got to become realistic and humane. Not that. The issue isn't that. The issue is simply this. About 2 years ago, a then reporter for the Riverdale Press came to the board and said, I've gone through virtually every building that characterizes itself as affordable. I make $50,000 a year, and I can't afford a single one of them. That's a hell of a comment. And that's what the problem in this town is. We can make it affordable. City limits is in the article that reported upon the new deputy mayor for housing indicated that she certainly understood that. I have high hopes you will. And that's where we have to put our hopes and our money. I must tell you, so far, in the last administration, there wasn't a segment of that administration, including the city council, that you could put your hopes on. That's unfortunate. In any event, any further business? Forgive my lecturing. As I said, this is a subject I'm passionate about. And if the person in the left-hand corner is the Rosemary I think it is, welcome. Good night and thank you very much.
You actually voted on the chairman?
Nope, it is.
No, did you actually vote on the chairman?
For that matter, Dad was on.
Yeah, I saw that, yeah.
We just need.
Dad